Hey, good day. This is your hillbilly historian coming to you from the hills of East Tennessee to bring you logic, common sense, truth, justice, and the American way and history. History you won't find in your college or high school textbooks. The true intellectual history that hardly anyone ever thinks about. But I got one for you today. Real interesting concept. After World War II, we tried thousands of Germans. Started out with that big Nuremberg trial, big propaganda piece. Allies spent millions of dollars putting that together to try to show that we were just and legal in our execution of World War II, and that they were criminals in their execution of World War II. And we did the same thing with Japan, and I think in Germany there was like maybe 900 to 1,000 Germans executed out of that first Nuremberg trial. I think they tried 17 and hanged 10 of them. 11 died. Goring was able to get a cyanide capsule, and he killed himself in his cell. But they hanged 10 others. So 11 out of that first 17 died. And then over in Japan, something like 5,500 Japanese were convicted of war crimes. And I think we executed somewhere between 900 and 1,000 of them. Firebombing cities and killing people in the tens and hundreds of thousands. Dropping atomic bombs just wasn't enough for us. We had to try to show the world that we were just, legal, authoritarian when we did everything with just cause. And we had to prove that they were the criminals. There were no trials held against our generals for bombing Dresden, Hamburg, firebombing them. No trials held against Truman or anybody for dropping the atomic bombs and killing 80,000 at a time. But we held those trials. But Goering wasn't very smart. At that first Nuremberg trial in Germany, when they brought all these people in from around the world to act as judges and lawyers and prosecutors and defendants and all that, defenders, if Goring had been smart, all 17 of those guys, when they walked into that room, and they started out by asking them if they were guilty or not guilty. And of course, they answered, "Nix, guilty, not guilty." All 17 of them claimed they were not guilty, so they had this long, drawn-out trial, displaying all kinds of evidence, trying to prove they were guilty. If Goring had been smart, that first day, they would have all pled guilty. Sorry, we're guilty. Guilty, 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 17 times guilty. That would have been the end of it. There wouldn't have been any more trials, most likely not. If they all just plead guilty, and people who plead guilty normally are not put to death. Because they're showing remorse for the crimes they committed. Dahmer, he wasn't executed. The Unabomber wasn't executed. The Atlanta bomber wasn't executed, because they all pled guilty. And it took forever to find them, catch them. And if Goring had been smart, that all pled guilty that day, that'd have been the end of it. There would have been no big trial, no show of evidence, no show that we are the good guys and you are the bad guys. The millions of dollars spent on this Nuremberg debacle would have ended up with a big debacle. And Goring and them would not have been sentenced to death, because you don't sentence to death people who show remorse and plead guilty. Only after a long, hard trial do you execute these people. But anyway, if Goring had been smart and played his cards right, he would have ended that big propaganda show the first day. They all pled guilty, said, sorry, we're guilty. We did all these terrible things. We're remorseful. We're sorry. We didn't mean to. Hitler made us do it. Himmler made us do it, but they're not here now. We can't, And that would have been the end of the whole thing. And most of them, they were sentenced to life in prison and everything. Or let... Woo, 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 woo. Bird of paradise flew up my nose. But anyway, if Goring had been smart, and if those 27 Japanese, or however how many it was in that first big trial over in Tokyo, if they'd all pled guilty, that'd have been the end of that crap. We're sorry. We didn't mean to do it. The emperor made us do it. But they obviously did not have good legal counsel. They didn't have me around to give them good legal advice and counsel. That's what I would have advised them to do. Plead guilty, put a stop to this big-ass show trial. End it right here today, the first day. End it. Put an end to it, a stop to it. And even if you're sentenced to life imprisonment, you'll probably get out in 5 or 10. That's kind of the way it works. But, hey, they didn't have me around to tell them what to do in those days. But I'll tell you what, they all pled not guilty, let the Allies have this big-ass show trial, and that lasted for weeks and weeks and weeks. And it all came out, the way the Allies wanted it to, show that, hey, we're just. We're letting half of them go to prison, and the other half we're going to hang. But, like I say, they didn't have me to tell them what to do. But, and there's been several movies made that most of them are big hits. That first Nuremberg trial with Judy Garland and Montgomery Clift and Richard Widmark and Spencer Tracy. That movie was a big box office hit. They made a lot of money off of it. And that wouldn't have happened if Goring and all of them just pled guilty that first day and put an end to the whole thing right there. Then they wouldn't have had the grounds to make all these great movies. But anyway, that's the opinion of a hillbilly here in the hills of East Tennessee, and coming to you from Appalachia. You have a good day this beautiful May day, early May day.